Hello people. Today we're going to talk about the F-117A stealth fighter. And for those of you who stick around to the end, we've got a couple bonus aircraft. So I told you in the last video that these are all identical, and they are for the most part. They all have the same deco, the same United States Air Force markings, the same tail number, USAF 798, and they all have the same casted wheels with the mold marking down the center. Now on the bottom, we see the mold marking is A157, and it says F117A stealth fighter, and that's it. Now, Zylmex came out with this product in 1991. That's the first time we see it in the Intex catalog. And it continued up to the end to when they sold it, the product line, to Motormax. On the second variation here, we see that it says made in China, and that's the only change here that we see. Everything is the same. And this is actually the variation that we got in the mail from the package that we opened in the last video. So I was able to add this to the collection. And funny enough, I actually have this variation. It says made in China. But this one has always been in my collection, and I kept it, of course, because of those markings, but I don't understand why these tail marking, or these wing markings rather, are reflective on the bottom. And at first I thought that it was just done upside down, but if that was true, then this star would be here. And it's not. This is a mirrored image. Notice how that F is backwards. So I don't understand why it's like that, but this has always been in my collection. Now with this next variation, we see the addition of another marking in the mold. It says TMLM. Now I don't know what TMLM means, but I have to assume this is signifies the changing from Zylmex to Motormax. I don't know that for sure. That's just kind of what I've guessed about it. Alright, now this next variation is not because it's missing its rear wing. I kept this because this was the only variation I had that was like this. It's got all the same markings from the last variation, but now we see it's got an ink stamping on it. And again, we've seen this before. I don't know if it's a lot number or what that signifies, but that's the first time I've seen this. And unfortunately it is missing its rear wing, but until I find another one or understand what this means, this is going to have to stay in my collection. Now this next variation also has ink markings on the bottom, but of course this number's bigger, and that makes me think that that's what this is a lot. But I don't know. And then we have another ink number over here. Now I don't know if you guys noticed it, I forgot to mention it earlier, but this does have a noticeable change from, so I'm assuming this is the first variation after Zylmex took over, and this is the current variation. And there is a very significant change here that is not really obvious until you look at them sideways. The original Zylmex version, the windshield there's holes in the windshield so that you can see through the body of the plane. Whereas on this current variation, we see the mold has been changed, and I can only assume that's to strengthen that area. I don't know. It's hard to say. But this is the most recent version that's being sold out of Motormax. I know that because I opened this one out of the package. Now, only because there's so few of these, here is Zymex's other stealth fighter. And of course, this is a concept aircraft. This is not an actual aircraft that exists. On the bottom here, we see mold marking A151 stealth fighter. So this actually precedes the F117. And when we look in the catalogs, what we see is that this casting was only available from 1987 to 1989. Now, I actually have this one in the package, and it's an old Z packaging distributed by Intex. And although the copyright down here says 1982, we know that this is from 1989. This is the picture that's shown in the 1989 catalog. And I even have a second one that's exactly the same. It's got the exact same packaging. However, the back has a different picture. Yep, you guessed it. This is the picture from the 1988 catalog. So I assume there's a third variation in packaging that would include the 1987 catalog picture, but I haven't seen that one yet. And last but not least, we have Motormax's stealth fighter, A185 F19 stealth fighter made in China. Now, my 2004 Motormax catalog shows this product, but what I know about the F19 or what I was able to research is that this design comes from a company called MicroProse, who makes flight simulators, computer simulators. And in 1988, they came out with a flight simulator called F19 Stealth Fighter. So MicroProse created this concept art for their video game in lieu of the F19 Stealth Fighter, or F117 Stealth Fighter. But they, of course, didn't want to copy the design, so they made their own design, and this is what they came up with, apparently. So this is Motormax. I don't know if this is licensed through MicroProse or not, but the original packaging never mentioned the video game, never mentioned MicroProse, so it could be a ripoff. Hard to say. Either way, this stealth fighter and this stealth fighter are the two that Motormax are producing today. Thanks for watching, people. Make it a great day.
And it has all these interesting angles to it to deflect radar beams away from the receiver, making it invisible to radar. It was a very effective aircraft at the time. It is very effective in Desert Storm and in conflicts after that as well. So the Reagan Library about to get this historic aircraft. The official unveiling will be December 7th, but they did move it in place. It's here now, and they're going to get ready to put it on a pedestal. It'll be located outside the Reagan Pavilion next to the F-14 Tomcat.
Next to the F-14 Tomcat. Next to the F-14 Tomcat. Tomcat.